Why, hello there, you little foolish fools. We are going to be finishing up this case of mine now. Miss Mealy, can you fucking look at me? You look like Cousin It right now. Miss Mealy! Do you recall what you said earlier about when you answered some service calls as we were departing from Zhengfa? You said that Mr. Hicks was sitting in his seat at that time. However, that is simply not possible. Because Mr. Hicks was dead long before we ever touched down in Zhengfa. Oh. Miss Cammy Mealy. Maybe I didn't see what I thought I did. No one could make a mistake so large, Miss Mealy. But I make that kind of boo-boo all the time. This is going nowhere. There must be a better way of resolving this contradiction. Very well. Miss Mealy, if you please, tell me about your alibi during the time span from just before we were to land at 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. when the body was found. Are you telling me I'm a suspect, Mr. Edgeworth? I get the feeling I'm going to be talking to myself a lot. Oh, and she's turned to fucking Cousin It again.
Yeah.
Yeah. From 3 to 4, I was, in the flight attendant's room all by my lonesome self. Yeah. And from 5 to 6, I was, in the flight attendant's room all by my lonesome self. How is a man supposed to react to a testimony like that? Miss Mealy, wake up! She fell asleep again. It looks like the only way I'm going to be able to wake her up is by pressing her. If I remember correctly, food was being served in first class and the lounge between the hours of 3 and 4 a.m. Yeah, but that kind of stuff's run by Ms Rhoda. Then what were you doing in the attendance room at that time? Eating and having the most delicious dream. You mean you were neglecting your duties? No way. Sleeping's part of our job too, you know. So you were alone the entire time, were you? Yeah, no one else even popped their head in to say hi. Oh, well, I think a contradiction just popped in to say hi. What should I do? Should I raise an objection? Go ahead.
Objection?
Miss Mealy, there is a clear contradiction embedded in your testimony. What are you talking about? It's not possible that you were alone in the attendance room the whole time from 5 till 6 a.m. Yeah, because, Rhoda bought the suitcase and then left it in the attendance room.
Take that!
I wonder if you would be so kind as to take a look at this receipt, Miss Mealy. Huh? A receipt? For what? It's for the suitcase Miss Tenero bought. Now, if I may direct your attention to the timestamp. As you can see, it clearly states 5:40 a.m. Miss Tenero!
Yes?
Huh? Why is the killer here? I thought you'd have her locked up by now. I requested that she be present as a witness so that we may straighten out your complex lie. Now then, Mr. Nero, between the hours of 5 and 6 a.m., you took a trip from first class down to the first floor in-flight shop, correct?
Yes, I went to the shop to buy a suitcase. After which I went straight to the attendance room to drop it off.
And did you see Miss Mealy there at that time?
No.
So, Miss Mealy, where were you really between the hours of 5 and 6 a.m.? Miss Cammy! Hey, Mealy! The bathroom? I'll be the one to ask the questions here. Yeah, maybe that's it. I probably just missed her. Nature calls, you know. You take me for a fool? That's a little too convenient to be true. But it's the truth. Cross my heart. Don't have enough conclusive proof to counter-argue her at this stage. You don't believe me, do you? But please, would you give me a chance to hear me out? Okay, we're on her next testimony. Look, I know you're suspecting me because I'm one of the crew, but you'd think that maybe you should also suspect Ms Rhoda too. She's the one in charge of the elevator keycard and the shop, you know. If you ask me, that makes her super suspicious. Please leave Miss Tenera out of the conversation. Only you are under suspicion for now. I don't get it. Why are you covering for Ms Rhoda all of a sudden? Oh, now I get it. Maybe you've got your eye on Ms Rhoda. Of course I'm keeping an eye on her. I can't very well let her escape, can I? Never mind. You want to know something? Ms Rhoda is actually kinda...
I have absolutely no interest in people who can't appreciate my sense of design.
Now's not the time for this sort of talk. Okay, here we go.
Hold it!
No, it's not the only reason I have for suspecting you. Your statements regarding Mr. Hicks also turned out to be a bunch of lies. But I say I wasn't an attendant. You wouldn't suspect me there, would you? Yes, I suppose that's true enough.
Say I wasn't
Hold it!
an attendant?
She is already being detained for further questioning, or have you already forgotten? Yeah, I guess I just forgot.
Kemi, don't tell me you suspect me too.
Sorry, can't help it. I mean, other than you, there's no one else who could have done it.
I can't believe you would think that. I mean, me, a killer.
Miss Mealy, what did you mean just now by no one else could have done it?
Hold it!
And what are you in charge of, Miss Mealy? I take care of the attendance room. That doesn't count!
It does.
Oh, but I spend so much time in there, it might as well be my responsibility.
Mr. Edgeworth, Kemi is very talented in languages. So she assists passengers who may not speak English, especially those who speak Bulgarian. She is the only one on this flight who is fluent.
Oh, you mean that kind of what I'm in charge of? Why did you say so in the first place? What else could I have meant? Yeah, so I'm really good at Bulgarian. She's fluent in Bulgarian. Then I suppose you're in charge of processing documents in Bulgarian. Yeah, I take care of anything that has to do with Bulgarian.
Oh.
Very interesting.
That's interesting.
Hold it!
So what exactly do you do as the one in charge of some Bulgarian stuff? I do stuff like translate things from and into Bulgarian.
Kemi's the only member of the crew who understands Bulgarian, Mr. Edgeworth.
Miss Mealy, I take it then that it's your job to process all of the Bulgarian paperwork. Yeah. See, I totally pull my weight around here. So it would appear. Perhaps I should ask her for a few more details about her work and... Miss Mealy, it's very unladylike to put suspicion onto someone else. That's not what I'm doing at all. I'm just saying that Ms Rhoda's very sus. There you go, pushing everything onto her again. I don't get what you're saying. It must be a really abstract concept, huh? The only thing abstract here is the landscape inside your head. Well then, we best get her to translate that document for us. Doopy-doo. Doop.
Objection!
So, you are the only one in this flight crew that speaks Bulgarian. Is that correct? Oh, yeah, I guess so. I haven't run Bulgarian for a while. If that is the case, then this signature on this document belongs to you, doesn't it? Huh? This is a falsified piece of documentation with only one purpose: to lead anyone who read it to believe that Mr. LeBlanc's statue was loaded in Europe. The only person who could have either prepared or processed this document in Bulgarian is you, Miss Mealy. I farted.
Really?
Without your participation, the smuggling of the Elif Red could not have occurred.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Don't sleep while I'm pointing my finger at you! Oh, I wouldn't dream of falling asleep on you, Mr. Edgeworth.
You've been blowing bubbles this entire time.
It is exactly as you say. Are you confessing to having participated in the smuggling? No, far from it. It's true I was the one who signed off on that document. But you can't use that fact alone to make your allegation of smuggling stick. There's no direct correlation, after all. All you have is my signature on a piece of paper. Really? All you did was sign it? I neglected to check if the cargo had been loaded onto the plane properly. So sorry about that. It seems that she's finally woken up. This is going to be one tough flight, suppose. And this is just a supposition. Even if I was involved in the smuggling, you can't throw the charge of murder on me just like that.
Objection!
If you were involved in the smuggling, you would have had a strong motive to kill. Agent Hicks was in the middle of an investigation regarding a smuggling ring. And just when he was about to close in, he's killed by a member of that ring. Well, did you ever stop to think that maybe Rhoda is a smuggling ring member? After all, unlike me, Rhoda has access to many things on this plane for work purposes. So perhaps there is some element of a setup at play in this case. What are you talking about? Don't worry, I wasn't talking about you. I meant the killer. First it was myself, and now it's Mr. Nero, who is under the microscope. It seems to me that our killer is going to great lengths to pin this crime on anyone they can. You have no proof that Rhoda is being set up, or that she isn't. Actually, I believe that she was indeed the intended target from the very beginning. I believe that the plan was to push all of the blame for the crime onto her. And this evidence will prove my suspicions. This proves that the killer was out to frame Mr. Nero from the very beginning. Well, it'd be the suitcase, wouldn't it? Because she loves them.
Yep.
Take that!
The killer could have hidden the body anywhere, and yet they chose the suitcase. Why is that? Perhaps it was to move the body up from the lower deck to the first floor. However, why go through that trouble to do so? Oh, the poor teddy.
No, not the teddy.
The only way all of these actions make sense is if the killer had wanted to frame Mr. Nero for the murder. Mr. Nero buys a suitcase on every flight she works without fail. But should her suitcase be switched with one containing the victim's body, that would put her in a very tight spot. Unfortunately for the killer, the turbulence put an end to that plan. There wasn't enough time to put the body back into the suitcase. Ergo, they made do with whatever was at hand, adapted their plan, and tried to frame me as I lay unconscious on the floor from the turbulence. The killer then went to hide the suitcase in the in-flight shop, and brought the piggy bank back to the elevator in order to fabricate a false weapon. A lot of work for a fruitless endeavour, wouldn't you agree? Sounds like the killer had a tough time too, huh? I mean, why did the killer need to frame someone that badly anyway? That is because of the special circumstances surrounding this particular case.
Who? Or when? So, where doesn't really matter. It was still aboard the plane.
No, where does matter. Where would matter? This murder took place in the cargo hold of a plane. It would not take long for it to be found.
Yeah.
And then for everyone on the plane to be suspected. So they had to make sure that they weren't caught.
Very true, very true.
So let's go with where. The special circumstance is simply that the murder took place on a plane mid-flight. No matter which country, customs is quite strict in this day and age. So no matter what you do, the chances that the body will be found is very high. Therefore, there was no choice but to frame either Mr. Nero or myself. In other words, the only one who fits within the boundary of this criminal's movements is not Mr. Nero or myself, but you, Miss Camille. Only you and you alone could be the killer. And? Oh, are you done already? I was about to fall asleep again. Anyway, let's be honest here. You don't have anything on me other than that whole lot of circumstantial evidence. Eek! Stop blowing bubbles at me! You can see the outline of how the murder occurred, but I have no definitive evidence. And there isn't a piece of evidence that's still unaccounted for. Something I can't quite fit into the big picture. Oh shit. His cell phone was never found!
Yep.
Take that!
There's that too.
I don't have any actual evidence. I thought not. But that's because it went missing and still is. Missing? What do you mean by that? In the complex puzzle that is this case, there was one piece I kept getting stuck on, and that is the victim's cell phone. Francisco, you were waiting at the airport for a phone call from Agent Hicks's cell phone. Or at least, that's what you told me. That's right. But Agent Hicks's cell phone could not be found at the crime scene. You mean, the killer took the phone with them? Precisely. I suspect that if we were to find that phone, it would lead us to the killer. Come on, get serious. What? If the victim fell to his death from that height, wouldn't his phone break as well? We won't know that until we try a little experiment, will we? Francisca, I'd like to ask for your assistance. You know the victim's phone number, do you not? Of course I do. I will ring him now.
Agent Hanks' phone is ringing from somewhere, sir!
I hear a detective. Now, where is it coming from? We were determined that the real crime scene is here. All that's left is to catch the killer. It's louder in here. Thought it was too quiet in there.
The ring's coming from somewhere in here, sir!
Leave no stone unturned, Detective Gumshoe. We must find it. Well, but we never got to check the lockers. The ringing is coming from somewhere around here.
Well, it's not here, sir!
Why do I have such a bad feeling about where we're going to find the phone?
The ring's coming from in here, sir!
What? No, it can't be.
This is gotta be the victim's cell phone! Just locker is this, sir?
Sorry. It's Mr. Nero's.
What? Great.
Poor girl.
So they put it in there. Or somebody.
Yeah, I get the feeling. So, Mr. Edgeworth, how did it go? Where did you find the phone? I found it in the flight attendant's room in Mr. Nero's locker.
What? But...
Rhoda to Nero!
I don't know anything about the phone. It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Miss Von Karmer, is it? I suggest you arrest Miss Rhoda Tenero right away. Wait, I have a theory. This is related to the incident with the key card. When the killer went to steal the key card, they conveniently stashed the cell phone in Mr. Nero's locker at the same time. This is related to the key card, alright. In the same way, we have zero proof that the killer did just that. The only voice that sings the truth is evidence. That is the one bird we cannot ignore. What should I do? Francisco's right. I can't offer baseless conjectures at this point. Alright then. Why did the culprit take the cell phone from Agent Hicks? It must have something very incriminating on or in it.
Hold it!
What now, Miles Edgeworth? It's not over yet. We have yet to figure out why the killer took the phone. What? Inside this phone lies the final piece of incriminating evidence that will point us to our killer. We need to examine this phone in more detail. The LCD is broken. Without a screen, you can't even place a call with this. It is a camera. Ah, it is a camera lens. Come to think of it, I wonder, how exactly was Agent Hicks planning to preserve the crime scene of smuggling? Francisca, I need you to confirm something. This cell phone, can it take pictures?
Mr. Adrian, I can't believe you don't know about that kind of basic stuff, sir.
This looks like a very similar model to my own. And mine can take photos just fine. Do you think Agent Hicks could have taken some pictures with this? In particular, pictures as evidence for his smuggling case. If so, I'd say there might be some very inconvenient photos in here from our killer/smuggler.
But the phone's all busted up, sir.
Even a super prosecutor can't repair a broken phone. Find a way, don't you worry about that. May I go back to sleep now? The LCD screen on the inside and outside are broken, that's for sure. But that's also reason enough to believe that the killer wasn't able to erase the data. What? What do you mean by that, Francisca? It looks like our killer isn't very familiar with electronics. This phone still rang when I called it, meaning that only the LCD screens are broken. It's possible that the photos are still there inside, waiting to be accessed. All we need to do is transfer the data to my phone. Francisca, your phone, if you please. Very well. It's transferring. Alright, displaying it now. This is... Agent Hicks was most certainly trying to obtain some evidence for his smuggling case.
Right, the LA Fred's nowhere in this pic, sir.
But this has no meaning as a piece of evidence in this murder case, right?
Oh, she's right. There's not much we can find out from this about Agent Hicks' killer, sir.
Is this it? Is this the end?
No, look at the photo. Look at the photo. What's that over there?
Is there really nothing in this photo we can use? We don't know where those are.
Huh?
Right. That's where the yellow thread is.
Yeah.
That's where the big Zheng Fa thing is. Where are
those?
these? What's all this?
Huh? Oh! They are cargo ship from Virginia to Zhengfa.
So the reason they aren't here now is that they were dropped off in Zheng Fa. Mr. LeBlanc, can you tell me the contents of the boxes? Unfortunately, there is no English written on them anywhere.
One cluster of boxes is written in Burgundian. It says... It is cloth in English.
Cloth? Could it be? Is this where the killer...
Oh, what? What is that for? What for is that scary face?
Miss Mealy. Yes. It appears that Agent Hicks was no ordinary investigator. He left us with a piece of evidence, after all. A striking piece that will point out who his killer is. Ha! Maybe you shouldn't force your mistaken reading for a simple picture, Mr. Edworth.
No.
The Bulgarian cargo and this piece of evidence will point us straight to the killer. That is, the cloth.
Take that!
And what is that supposed to prove? The killer used this piece of cloth to wipe up the blood they've spilt. But there was one thing that bothered me this whole time. Where did it come from? And now I have finally found my answer in this very photo. The cargo that was unloaded in Zengfar had cloth written on it. In Bulgarian, that is. And that is where the killer grabbed a piece from to clean up the blood with.
I don't know what you've done that is me like.
Yeah. That's right. The killer was someone who could read and understand Bulgarian. And the only crew member that fits that description is you, Miss Kame Mila. Hold it. That's pretty flimsy. The killer probably searched through all the boxes looking for something to use. When you're frantic, you don't care if the box is in English or Bulgarian. Sorry, but I cannot agree with your assessment of the killer's indiscriminate nature. What? There was no need for the killer to tear through the boxes at random at all. And if the killer supposedly could not comprehend Bulgarian, well then. Logically, the killer would have opened this box first. That states bedsheets!
Hey, it says bedsheets in English right on the box, sir.
Precisely. And bedsheets would be perfect for cleaning up the blood, wouldn't you say? Hold it. So what are you trying to say? That if I were the criminal, this box of bedsheets would have been what I would have spotted first. However, the killer chose to use some Bulgarian cloth. Do you have an explanation for that? The killer didn't want anyone to know that the real scene of the crime was this cargo hold. So they were afraid to leave signs that the box for the sheets had been opened. However, the Bulgarian cloth, well, that's a horse of a different colour. Because the killer knew it was going to be unloaded in the Republic of Zengfar? That's right. That is why the Bulgarian cloth was used, and the only Bulgarian reader on board who could make such a calculated decision is you, Kame Mile! You and you alone! It would be very easy for us to confirm if any of the boxes were resealed. All we would have to do is contact the Zhengfar authorities in time. We may even find other evidence to incriminate our killer within those boxes. So, what do you say, Miss Mile? Why not confess to your crimes here and now? Or would you rather wait and see what we find out from our investigation in Zhengfar? He was into pull. I couldn't stop it. I brought him here. He started taking pictures. I couldn't be found out. I was scared. I was in trouble.
Push him.
I
What do you mean you couldn't be found out smuggling?
Yeah, she's a
She was
smuggler as
involved.
well. Well, what's that? Care for a bottle of wine?
We finished making all the arrangements to take the suspect in, sir.
Very good, detective. What about the smuggling route? Did you say anything about that?
They're taking it down to the precinct now. Hopefully we can get more out of her there. Whenever we even approached the topic, she just started foaming at the mouth. It was scary, sir.
She probably wasn't prepared to commit a murder all of a sudden. One thing is for sure, the ring behind this whole mess means serious business. It looks like there's a lot more to this case than meets the eye. Oh hey.
Mr. Edgeworth? I just wanted to say how much I appreciate everything you did. Thank you very much.
It was nothing. In fact, I should be the one thanking you for your cooperation.
But truly, if it wasn't for you, I might not be here right now. Instead, I can continue to serve our passengers as a flight attendant. I hope that, well, please accept this as a token of my appreciation.
That's...
I see. You don't have to take it if you don't want to.
No, I mean, I would never turn down a lady's generous offer.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you can always give it to Gumshoe. He wanted one.
I'm sure it will serve you well. And remember, we here at Buuuuuttt Airlines are always ready to serve, Mr. Edgeworth.
Thank you. I'll keep that in mind.
I must bid you farewell. May your skies be blue no matter where you go. I can't believe we wound up investigating the whole day, sir, but boy, it was fun.
Speak for yourself. My day was filled with earthquakes, elevators, and false charges. And by the way, where's Franziska?
Oh, she's filling out some customs paperwork for her departure.
Departure?
Yeah, Miss Von Kahn was always really busy, sir. She's been flying from country to country to chase down some leads regarding her case.
Detective, can you cancel the car I had you reserve earlier?
You got it, sir. Why?
I don't know. Franziska. I thought I told you when you first landed. I have no time for idle chatter. I have no intention of wasting your time. However, it has been a while since we last met. I also have no time for such familiar reminiscences. Just who do you think I am? You are Franziska von Karma, a very proud prosecutor deserving of much respect. Until only a little while ago, I was but a wretched mutt who was always losing to you. A dancing period, living her life on in the name and fame of her invincible father built. True, your father, Manfred von Karma, didn't lose a single case for 40 years as a prosecutor. However, I wouldn't say he was invincible. What are you talking about? The group I'm on the trail of is a little more troublesome than most. The smuggling route we found this time is only one slither of the big picture. Sounds like a dangerous assignment. You really don't have to worry. I can take care of myself. Yes, I suppose you can. Plus, there is another agent on this case with me. Oh? Another agent? He's a star among Interpol agents and has the highest successful arrest rate. Who knows, you may even run into him one day. I was simply caught up on this one case. I hardly see why we would cross paths. I suppose. But I doubt he would say the same. I'm not following you. You'll understand soon enough. The fight has only just begun, Miles Edgeworth. I'll be back in this country soon enough. And when I am, you can be sure I'll pay you back. In full.
And just like that, she's gone, huh, sir? Thank goodness, I can finally rest easy and I won't have to watch out for her whip.
Detective Gumshoe, I want to thank you for all your help and cooperation.
Oh, it was nothing, sir. I was happy to be able to work with you again. Ha ha! I am going to celebrate by adding a little extra salt to my instant noodles tonight.
Just how much did you cut his salary by, Franziska? Detective, I was wondering if you might give me a ride down to the prosecutor's office.
Sure thing, sir. I'll even fly down the road in a patrol car if you want.
Don't make me remind you, Detective. Safety first. Thus I solved the first case upon my arrival home. Franziska von Karma, smuggling route she was after. The leaders of that ring had already put their trump card into play. And the players on the other side of this war, they would begin to make themselves known throughout the next incident. Edgeworth speaking. Finally I called who knows how many times earlier but couldn't get through. And you are? Have you forgotten my voice, Miles, my boy? Mr. Amano, Ernest Amano, correct? So you do remember me. I'll keep going.
Okay.
I know it's rather sudden, but I can't ask this of anyone else. There's been an incident, Miles. My son. He's been kidnapped. We'll probably
Wow.
change the voice in the next one where we actually see this fucking guy. Save it! And we got the award for completing the airlines. Okay, we'll see you next time for the kidnapped turnabout. Whenever that may be. Farewell! Thank you all for watching this latest addition to our growing collection of varying games and reviews, just videos in general. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Please leave a like and a comment in the comments section down below. We love hearing what you think. If you have any recommendations for either games to play or material to review, let us know in the comments and we'll do our best to get to them when we can.
If you like our content, subscribe to see more. Check out our playlists if you are looking for something new or worried you've missed an episode. Click on the recommended video appearing on the screen if you want to see more of us right now. You won't regret it, we swear. Subscribe to our Patreon to become one of our lovely beans today. However, if that is too expensive for you at this time, please consider a one-off donation on our Ko-fi. Help a poor tea-wench today.
And with that, Lime out.
Dragon out.
Bye!